As we age, one of the most common complaints people share is that they find themselves waking up in the middle of the night. Sometimes it happens once, sometimes multiple times, and for many it becomes a nightly struggle. While this can be completely normal, the real challenge begins when you can't fall back asleep. Instead of getting the rest your body needs, you find yourself staring into the dark, tossing and turning, feeling frustrated as the minutes tick away. If this sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. The good news is there are specific things you can do to improve the situation, and a few common habits you should absolutely avoid if you don't want to make it worse. Before we talk about the techniques that will help you fall back asleep, let's first look at why this happens in the first place. When you go to bed at night, your body goes through natural temperature shifts. Your core temperature rises in the evening until it reaches its peak around 10:30 p.m., then begins to fall. This drop in temperature is the signal your brain uses to release melatonin, the sleep hormone. Think of melatonin as the key that starts the engine for sleep. But a few hours later, something interesting happens. Your temperature bottoms out and then starts climbing again. That rise often pushes you into lighter stages of sleep, and because we naturally spend less time in deep sleep as we age, this makes us more likely to wake up in the middle of the night, often between 1 and 3 in the morning. Now, waking up isn't always the problem. The real issue is what we do after we wake up. The habits we fall into during those midnight awakenings often determine whether we drift back to sleep quickly or stay awake for hours. The first thing to avoid is looking at the clock. This may sound harmless, but the moment you see the time your brain starts doing the math, it's 2:15. If I fall asleep right now, I'll get 4 more hours, but if I don't, I'll only get 3, and before you know it, you're anxious and wide awake. That anxiety raises your heart rate, and a higher heart rate makes it harder to return to deep rest. The second thing to avoid is looking at your phone. Most of us keep our phone next to the bed, so it's tempting to check the time or glance at notifications, but even a few seconds of light from the screen tells your brain it's morning, making it much harder to relax. Add to that the distraction of messages or the temptation to scroll, and suddenly you're fully awake instead of preparing to drift off. Another habit to be careful with is getting up to use the bathroom when you don't actually need to. Of course, if you genuinely have to go, then go. But many people wake up and think, maybe I should go just in case. The problem is that standing up, walking, and moving around raises your heart rate, pulling you further away from sleep. And finally, avoid turning on bright lights. Light is one of the strongest signals for your body's internal clock, so when you flood your eyes with brightness at 2 in the morning, your brain thinks it's time to be awake. If you absolutely need light, use a soft nightlight instead. So now that we've covered what not to do, let's talk about what you can do to get back to sleep quickly. One of the best techniques is called the 4-7-8 breathing method. You simply breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 7, and slowly exhale for 8. This deep breathing calms your nervous system, lowers your heart rate, and signals to your body that it's safe to relax again. Most people find that even a few rounds of this exercise helps them feel drowsy. Another useful technique is giving your mind something gentle to focus on. Instead of stressing over your thoughts, try counting backwards from 300 in threes, 300, 297, 294, and so on. This simple mental exercise distracts you from racing thoughts but isn't stimulating enough to keep you awake for long. You can also try progressive muscle relaxation. Start by tensing the muscles in your toes for a few seconds, then release. Move to your calves, thighs, stomach, shoulders, and finally your face. By working through your body like this, you release hidden tension and create a deep sense of calm that helps prepare you for sleep. And here's something most people don't realize. Even if you don't fall asleep again right away, simply lying quietly in the dark while breathing slowly and keeping your heart rate low still has benefits. Sleep researchers call this non-sleep deep rest. Every hour you spend in this state can be as restorative as 20 minutes of actual sleep. So instead of getting frustrated, remind yourself that your body is still healing and recharging. So the next time you wake up at 2 in the morning, don't panic. Skip the clock, leave your phone alone, keep the lights dim, and avoid unnecessary trips out of bed. Use calming techniques like deep breathing, gentle mental distractions, or muscle relaxation, and remember that even resting has value. Over time, practicing these habits can make your nights more restful and your mornings more energized. Sweet dreams, and may your nights be filled with peace and ease.